Have you ever felt a moment so heavy, so electric with unspoken truths, that it changed the way you saw your family forever? This is not just another story about secrets behind closed doors. It's about the shadows that fall on even the brightest memories, the moments you never expect and can never forget. Welcome to Stoic Psyche Wisdom, the place where we confront the stories that hide beneath our everyday lives. Today I'm sharing something raw, something real, a memory that haunts me in the quietest hours. Asterisk title. He said, "Don't tell your mother, but I remember everything." True story, asterisk. It was one of those suffocating summer afternoons. The kind where the air feels thick enough to drown in, and the world outside is bathed in that sleepy, golden haze even inside. With every fan working overtime, the heat pressed on my skin, settling deep into my bones. I had just come home from university for the brick. No big reunion, no family dinner. Just the quiet return to a house that always felt safe until it didn't. That weekend, it was just me and my father, Martin. My mom, Karen, had gone out of town to visit her sister, promising she'd be back in a few days. Just a short trip, she'd said with a smile, but sometimes a few days is all it takes to change everything. At first, it was almost comforting. Me and my dad alone, just like old times. We'd always gotten along, even if we weren't the type to share everything. His sense of humor was like a secret handshake. Dry, understated, the kind that made you laugh even when you tried not to. But looking back, I can see the tension hiding beneath the surface, like a warning in the air that nobody wants to talk about. We spent that first afternoon making sandwiches together, talking about professors, the old peeling paint in the bathroom, all the little nothings that make up a life. For a moment, it felt normal, familiar. Maybe that's what made the shift so jarring at lunch. I noticed it first in his eyes. The way his laughter seemed bigger, louder, and somehow emptier. He looked at me longer than usual, sometimes as if he was searching for something I couldn't see. I brushed it off. I didn't want to believe anything had changed. Then out of nowhere, he leaned back in his chair, grinning in a way I hadn't seen since I was a child. "You know what we should do?" he asked, trying to sound casual but missing the mark. "Watch a movie, something classic." "Sure," I said. "Got anything in mind?" He shot me a look, half mischievous, half something else. "How about something spicy?" I laughed. "Spicy like food?" Or he chuckled, "Romantic?" "Spicy, just for fun." It felt weird, but I didn't want to seem uptight. So I played along. We chose some old romantic drama. Not explicit, but drenched in longing looks and slow burning tension. But as the movie played, I could feel his gaze drifting to Mono, the screen dot. Not leering, but still unmistakable. A chill ran down my spine. But when your body knows something is off, it doesn't lie then. A sudden knock at the door. A sound so ordinary, but in that charged moment, it felt like thunder. We both flinched. Dad shot me a glance, one that said, "Don't move," and went to answer, peeking out. I saw it was Mrs. Evelyn, our sweet elderly neighbor, holding a basket of cookies and a smile that could melt stone. She chatted, laughed, filled the doorway with warmth and the scent of fresh baking dough. For a brief moment, her presence washed away the weird tension, letting me breathe again. But as soon as she left, the air settled back into its heavy, expectant silence when Dad sat back down. His whole energy had changed. He turned to me, voice gentler, almost fragile. "Lily, do you ever wonder what it would be like if it was just us?" My heart slammed in my chest. "What do you mean?" I asked, more quietly than I meant to. He hesitated, looking everywhere but at me. "I mean, if your mom wasn't here, just you and me." I could see the fear in his eyes, the fear of his own words, the fear of what he was feeling. I told myself he was just tired, just lonely, but his next words shattered the illusion. "I know it sounds wrong, but I've been feeling things I shouldn't." I froze, breath caught halfway between fear and disbelief. The silence between us was thick enough to choke on. Then my phone buzzed a message from Mom. Change of plans, heading back early. Be home in a few hours, I showed Dad. He looked at me, all pretense gone. We need to act normal, he said. His voice clipped, I just nodded numb. When Mom returned, everything was the same. On the surface, smiles, stories, grocery bags, laughter. But underneath, the ground had shifted. Something irreversible had cracked open inside me. We never talked about what happened, but it was there in the way we looked at each other, in the space that grew wider at the dinner table, in the little rituals that suddenly felt strained. At night, I lay in bed replaying the day over and over. The words, the looks, the question hanging in the air like a noose. Was it real or just a nightmare? I couldn't wake from the house. Felt wired with tension. One wrong move and everything might go up in flames. Mom was still blissfully unaware. Caught in her routines, but I was living on a knife's edge. Always bracing for the next uncomfortable silence. One night I couldn't sleep. I wandered into the living room. Found Dad sitting alone on the couch, nursing a glass of whiskey. He said couldn't sleep. I answered, sitting across from him, feeling every word like a weight in my chest. For a while we sat in silence, the kind that says too much. Then he spoke, voice rough, Lily. About the other day, yeah. I whispered, not trusting my voice. He stared into his glass. It was a mistake. I shouldn't have said anything. Was it the words slipped out before I could stop them? He looked up, searching my face. I don't know, I just know I felt something. And I can't pretend I didn't. The air between us vibrated with unsaid things. Just then, another message, this time from a friend asking if I wanted to hang out. I stood up, desperate for any escape. I'm going out for a bit, I said. He nodded, be safe. When I got back hours later, he was still there, still haunted. We sat together side by side, not touching, but not entirely apart. Did you miss me, I teased, hoping to break the spell. He smiled, a tired, guilty smile. Maybe a little. Another knock at the door, Mrs. Evelyn again, more cookies. More forced small talk when she left. The silence returned. What were we talking about before? I asked. He hesitated. I don't know if we should talk about it. Why not? He looked away. 'Cause once we do, there's no going back. We already crossed that line. I said softly. He dropped his voice to a whisper. I feel something between us. I don't know what it is, but it's real. I didn't hesitate. I feel it too. He reached for my hand. Our fingers touched, lightning joy. Not comfort, but a terrifying spark of something complicated and wrong. But real. The days that followed were a balancing act over a pit of secrets. We became experts at pretending actors in our own lives, smiling, laughing, saying all the right things while the real story churned underneath. The moral here is not about blame, but about the cost of silence. Sometimes the things we never say are the ones that shape us forever. We can't choose the shadows that fall over our lives, but we can choose how we respond to them, whether we let them grow or we bring them into the light. So ask yourself, what secrets are you carrying in your own family? What lines would you never cross? And what would you do if someone else did? Asterisk. If you've ever felt alone in your confusion, or trapped by the silence between you and someone you love, know this: you are not alone. Sometimes healing starts by naming the story you're afraid to tell. If this story moved you or made you think, share your thoughts in the comments below. Psyche Wisdom. Remember to subscribe for more stories that others are too afraid to say, where real growth begins. Thank you for listening. Asterisk. Stronger emotional hook right from the opening. Asterisk. Asterisk. Richer sensory details and immersive scene setting. Asterisk. To pull the audience into each moment. Asterisk. Deeper emotional beats. Internal conflict, tension, and the push-pull of forbidden emotion. Asterisk. Moments for audience reflection. inviting them to engage and relate. Asterisk expanded conclusion that offers both a moral takeaway and a call to action, making the story not just memorable but meaningful.